is ancient. So if we keep calling IKS is ancient, then whatever we will be contributing will be either ancient or will not be relevant. So if we are contributing from India, as an Indian, it's Indian knowledge system. So we should never call Indian knowledge system as ancient. One more thing, whatever knowledge we have gained, we are using it for present day, and that knowledge is also relevant. So that's why Indian knowledge system can never be ancient. IKS is written by Hindus. Now this question is asked many times. Sir, we see most of the IKS texts are written by Hindus. Now word Hindu we can see in two ways. Whether Hindu you want to call it as a geographical Hindu or a religion part. The present day what we call Hindu as a religion. If we call Hindu as a religion, then no, Indian knowledge system, the contribution for the knowledge system is not only mere by Hindus, but there is a contribution by Jainas, Buddhas, Islams. Unani medicine is contributed by Islams, though they have taken, they came to India and they generated Unani from Indian herbs. And there are many other texts, like mathematical texts you will find in Jainism and Buddhism. Many mathematical texts you will find. But if we take Hinduism as a geographical thing, whoever is born in this Akhanda Bharata, if they have contributed, let that be Hindu, Islam, Muslim, Jain or Buddha, it will be considered as Hindu. If that is the case, then yes, IKS is developed by Hindus. IKS has answer for all the problems of our life. Our ancient, this is WhatsApp message which keeps roaming in our WhatsApp university every now and then. So it says that our ancient teachers have given solution for all the problems. No, we don't claim that. Because actually our intellectual ancestors have answers for many problems. That does not mean that we have answers for all the problems. Some problems are new to the society. So based on the change of the society, we may have to come up with the new solutions. But sometimes our texts may help in finding those solutions. That possibilities are there, but that does not mean we have answers for all the problems. Anyway, these are some myths and facts which coordinators wanted me to present. There are many other myths, but as time is not sufficient enough to present all those things, I have taken some here. Can we go to next slide? Now the question was how to integrate the Indian knowledge system in our curriculums. There are various ways to do that. Now here I think there are courses like earth sciences, physics, chemistry, management. There are different types of curriculums we find in different universities. Now even AICT is trying how to integrate the Indian knowledge system into the curriculum. The UGC is planning to do that. 10% of UGC is saying that 10% of your curriculum must have Indian thoughts in it. Now the question by the faculty is how to integrate Indian knowledge system. What are the various ways to do that? Because 10% we have to integrate. Now UGC is going to make it mandatory. How to do it? So here are some ideas which I can present here in front of you. You can use it or you can develop your own ideas. So first one is compulsory foundation course. Indian knowledge system as a foundation course, we can offer it to all the students of the university, saying that, see, in our India, we had this knowledge. Based on this knowledge, you can develop your wisdom and use it to generate new knowledge. So that is one possibility where one whole Indian knowledge system framework can be offered. Now AICT is planning to offer Indian knowledge system in all its technical institutions as a mandatory course for 4 credits. So I am also have come up with 3 courses of Indian knowledge systems. Then there is a possibility that there are some challenges which we will be discussing in afternoon session. So I will not take those challenges. So maybe that challenges lead us to come to these optional foundational courses. In case there are students They might not be directly interested. If we impose something to students, they don't like it. Like Indian knowledge system, when the word Indian is, say, as I said, there is a myth that Indian thing is ancient. As soon as that ancient word comes, ये पुरानी चीजें हमारे सर पे क्यों ढाल रहे हो? That thing we always hear. So what happened? So that's why there's a possibility that initial stages, let us go with the optional foundational courses. So though that the all the what areas of Indian knowledge system can be divided into several courses and offered. Then integration of course in a program, like I think I have heard from Chaitanya ji that they are offering Arthashastra as a 2 credit course in a curriculum, in a program. So that is one possibility. For Rasa Shastra can be offered as a 2 or 3 credit course, just an introduction to Rasa Shastra, Indian chemistry, in chemistry curriculum. For management, leadership concepts from India can be offered. And there are many ways in which that small courses can be offered. Arthashastra itself is a huge repository from which you can take lot of things, and like foreign policy can be offered to the international relations students, and foreign policy can be offered, political thoughts can be offered. So that's the possibility where integration of a small course, 2 credit, 3 credit course can be offered to the students. Or integration of module in a course. You have a course on leadership, take one module and say that it's an Indian method. Or like if you are offering a course on, offering a course on mathematics, something related to mathematics, where is like algebra, you can take some part of Lilavati and offer it. Lilavati is a Bijaganita algebra text of Bhaskaracharya. You can add some aspects of Lilavati and show how our Indians had a thought about algebra. So that's one possibility. Then if we go ahead, integration of concepts wherever relevant. And sometimes it's not possible to bring whole of the module or develop the whole course. Lack of resources, sometimes lack of references we need. So there's a possibility that in a course, wherever we get concepts, wherever something comes, a small part of Indian knowledge can be added. Like when we are teaching Pythagoras theorem, in a modern concept, when we are teaching Pythagoras theorem, let's bring Bodhayana Sutra and say that this also exists. We had a concept called Bodhayana Sutra, which actually explains this Pythagoras theorem. So there are many such examples which we can bring. Another possibility is offering minor in a selected area of Indian knowledge system, a small 24 credit course. 24 credit minor area, like major and minor. Minor we can offer. Like if somebody is studying public administration and governance or politics, a minor in Arthashastra can be offered to such people, such students. Minor in science can be offered to the science student, Indian science, history of Indian science. A minor in Indian mathematics can be offered. See, all these have challenges. We don't have enough resources everywhere. If you want to have a resource person, it's very difficult to find. But gradually we can start and we can lead to that goal which we are trying to achieve. And this is about the courses. And when we come to research, as a part of integrated or interdisciplinary research we can do. There's a possibility of doing various research. Like if you are a mathematician, like Herorji, he is coming from modern area of mathematics. And he actually studied Indian mathematics and he is trying to integrate those two. I've seen our Ramakrishna ji here. He is working on astronomy. He is trying how we can take Indian astronomy and see how it can be helpful in modern astronomy, to understand modern astronomy. So these type of things we can find. So that is means in a discipline, the work is taken from Indian knowledge. But there is a possibility that for other discipline, we are taking something from other discipline. Like, for example, if somebody is working on Ayurveda, the Rasa Shastra will actually help. In medicine system, the Rasa Shastra will help, because that's what our ancestors did. When Charvaka, Shushruta or Vagbhata, they were working on this medicinal bhasmas. They most of the time they tried this minerals where Rasa Shastra actually helped them. So that's one possibility, that interdisciplinary thing we can find. Applying Indian methods of research in while doing research. There are many Indian methods through which the researches were done in ancient India. So those methods we can bring into practice. We can use those methods and see whether which method is more useful for us to present our thoughts. So that these are some possibilities of integrating Indian knowledge system. Now let's move into exact subject which was given to me. So how much time? We have time. Okay. So I am ensured that I have enough time to present my thoughts. So the topic given to me was public administration and governance. Most of the thoughts of public administration and governance we find in the text called Arthashastra of Kautilya. So I have not taken Ramayana and Mahabharata, though there also we find lot of thoughts. But as Arthashastrakara Kautilya himself, in his very first line of Arthashastra, he says, I have taken all the thoughts from my ancestors, means my previous acharyas regarding Arthashastra, and compiled this Arthashastra, this text called Arthashastra. Okay. So what is Artha? Why I am presenting these? Because once we understand what is Artha and what is Arthashastra, gradually we'll go what are the subjects, what are the topics discussed in Arthashastra, which might help you in using those topics, using that, reading that text of Arthashastra, specifically going into that chapter of Arthashastra and finding the need which you can use in your subject. Means if you are teaching something, like I can quote, I can just use the example Ramnathanji. He is using Arthashastra's second Adhikarana, where there is a discussion about chemistry, discussion about the gold formation, silver and all. There are a lot of things which are discussed related to chemistry. So he is using Arthashastra for his research. He is taking chemistry part of Arthashastra and using it in his research. Similarly, we can take lot of things from Arthashastra which we can use in our research as well as teaching our students. So what is Artha? So Kama Sutra, in the Kama Sutra of Vatsyayana, there is an explanation about the word Artha, which we usually understand as wealth or meaning. The word Artha sometimes is used as the word wealth or meaning. So here the explanation is given in bit extended form. So Vidya Bhumi Hiranya Pashu Dhanya Bhandopaskara Mitradinam Arjanam Arjitasya Vivardhanam Arthaha. So he gives the definition of the word Artha in this manner. Vidya, Bhumi. Vidya means knowledge. Bhumi, land. Hiranya, wealth or money. Pashu, animals. Dhanya, the cereals. Then he discusses about the vessels and all. And friends. Earning of these, gaining these, and increasing it, or protecting it, or developing it is called Artha. Artha not mere means wealth, but Artha means all these things. That's why we say the Vidyarthi, the Hiranyarthi, Bhumyarthi, Mitrarthi. So Artha, all these things are Artha actually. Gaining these things and protecting them is Artha. Then Chanakya in his Arthashastra, he gives definition in this form. Manushyanam vrittirarthaha, manushyavati bhumirityarthaha, tasyah prithivyaha labhapalanopaya shastram arthashastramiti. Manushyanam vrittirartha. Vritti means livelihood. The livelihood of a human being is called Artha. What is that livelihood? Manushyavati bhumirityartha, the land where human being dwell. The land with human being, where human being dwell, that land is called Bhumi. Okay? And that is actually the livelihood of a human being. Tasyaha prithivyaha, the protection of that labha palanopayaha. Labha means to gain, procure, and palana, to actually to take care of that, to take care of the welfare of that, to grow that, and to develop that. So the upaya, the ideas from the text which gives the idea to all these things, the livelihood of a human being, the land with the human being, the idea which gives, the text which gives the idea to protect, to gain, to develop, is the text which is called as Arthashastra. The treatise called Arthashastra. So we'll move ahead. So let's move to the history of Arthashastra. So there was a time, according to Mahabharata, there was a time when there was no king, no kingdom, no governance, no government, nothing. People used to protect each other through dharma, means proper duties. My duty is this, I will do my duty without uh, poking my nose into others' duty. I will keep continuing my duty. And same thing was happening from other side also. So people never had quarrel among themselves because they were focusing on their own duties. When people are focused in their own duties, they are not worried what other is doing. They are doing their duty systematically, and that was happening. That is the reason why once upon a time there was no kingdom, no king, no governance, no punishments, nothing. People are protecting each other through dharma. But gradually the delusion takes place. Delusion conquers the mind of a human being. And that leads to the quarrel between the people. They started getting into the other's dharma and ruining their dharma as well as others' dharma. That led to the contradiction between the people. They started fighting among themselves. Now, that led to the problem called Matsya Nyaya. Matsya Nyaya is big fish eating the small fish, a big company trying to eat a small company. How to? Yes, usually what happens, the whoever is powerful, they try to support the weaker one. But here the case got different. The big fish started eating small fish. Now this situation arose. Now to come over this situation, people came together and they decided that we will have a king. And Manu was considered to be the first king according to Arthashastra. Matsyanyaya vibhutah prajaha manum vaivasvatam rajanam chakrire. They all came together and they decided that we need a king because without king, the, the, the whole world will be in a chaos. So to just come out of this chaos, come out of this Matsya Nyaya, the people decided to make Manu the first king of the universe. So this is just general introduction about Arthashastra. The composer is Chanakya, who is also called as Vishnugupta, Kautilya. Time period, approximately 3rd century BCE. There are 15 adhikaranas. There are 180 prakarnas, adhyayas 150, karikas 350. I will just skip this part. Please go ahead. This is important. So the text is divided into 3 parts. Arthashastra of Kautilya. I hope everyone knows Chanakya here. Yes? Okay. So his text also is known. There is a text called Arthashastra composed by him. Okay. Then it will be easy for you. So Arthashastra text is divided into 3. We can divide the Arthashastra into 3 parts. First is Tantradhikara, second is Avapadhikara, and miscellaneous part. First 5 adhikarana deals with the internal administration of the state. How a king should be, what is the knowledge which a king should acquire, how should he appoint his ministers, how should he appoint his spies, how should he deal with his ambassadors, envoys, what should be his daily regimen, what are the knowledge he should gain, then how should he protect himself from his son and his family. That's the thing. It's a very important thing which he discussed. How should he protect himself from his son and his family? To be very surprised, there are a lot of things happen which you might read. When you read the Arthashastra, you'll understand this much better. I will not go into detail. Then there comes 17 to 13 adhikarana, relationships with neighboring states. This is a foreign policy, mandala theory, what are the different states called. what is the relationship with the different states got. So those type of discussions. How should we deal? What should be our strategy? So those things it is fine. It's found in Avapadhikara, that is from 7th to 13th Adhikarana. Remaining, there are two adhikaranas, 14th and 15th. Those are miscellaneous adhikarana, where 14th adhikarana deals with some chemical compositions and there are different type of chemical compositions explained in that, so that can be discussed. Then there's a last chapter which deals with the Tantradhikara chapter, which deals with in what way Chanakya gives in what way I have composed this whole text. What are the various thoughts I have used? What are the various methods I have used to compose this text? So this is every adhikarana is given here. So first is Vinayadhikarana. In Vinayadhikarana, there is a discussion about which I have mentioned, the king knowledge which king should acquire. The first few chapters. The importance of protection of the dharma, duties of the people, and there is a discussion about how to elect a minister, elect a spy and all. Second Adhikarana deals with the state of bureaucracy, means what are the various heads required. Like we have cabinet ministers these days. So during those days, we had heads for each department. There's a department for agriculture, there's a department for uh, alcohol, there's a department for this cow, there's a department for general cattle, there is a department for Ashwadhyaksha, horse, department for elephants, department for this forest produces, department for this metals. So there are 32 chapters in whole which discuss all these departments. And for economics professor, this adhikarana is very important. If somebody is teaching economics, if he goes through this adhikarana, he'll get lot of inputs which he has acquired from his previous acharyas and compiled it at one place. So we'll get lot of information just if we read Arthashastra. Then comes Dharmasthya. Dharmasthya and Kantaka Shodhana are the two chapters which deals with law, legal system. First, Dharmasthya deals with the civil law, where there is a discussion about this inheritance, marriage. There is a discussion about labor. There is a discussion about labor means how should a king deal with the laborers. What happens if there is a contradiction or there is a problem with the laborers? What are the various rules to be applied? And what happens when somebody takes the loan and if it does not return? So these things are discussed in the chapter Dharmasthya. There are 18 types of transactions done between the people. So those transactions are discussed. Then comes Kantaka Shodhana, this is a criminal law. So here, what happens if a person kills? What happens if the society is cheating the people? Means there are traders who cheat the people. There are 40 ways of bribing mentioned in this chapter. 40 different ways in which a trader can cheat a person or an official can cheat a person. So there are 40 different ways explained in this chapter. And there is one whole chapter on this forensic, post-mortem, how to do a post-mortem. I exactly don't remember the name of the chapter. Do you remember? There's a Mrita Samshodhan, something is there. I don't exactly remember the name of the chapter, but there's a whole chapter on post-mortem. There is a chapter on what happens if a person behaves badly with a woman or a girl. There's a whole chapter. So very deep discussion happening there. So this is about Kantaka Shodhana. Then comes Yoga Vritta, monitoring the control and state apparatus. Everywhere we read that what should be the leadership quality. This chapter discusses what should be the followership quality. How should be a follower? Everywhere we see, we teach leadership. Leadership skill. But how should be a follower? Nowhere it is taught. But Chanakya deals with that. There's a chapter called Anujivi Vrittam, which says that how a follower should behave with his boss. That's a very important chapter. Then there is a discussion about salary, how much salary, what type of people should get what type of salary. And the one relevant thing which I found is, after the death of a person, when he's in a working, his means his family get that job. Same thing is mentioned in Chanakya's Arthashastra, that it should be given if somebody dies when he is working for a government, and so his immediate next family should get that job, or the king should take care of that family in whatever way possible. Then hereafter that Mandala Yoni, there are 7 state factors, Sapta Prakriti, which we say. This is very important. I will take that in my next slide. Uh, but yeah, then there is a Mandala system, the relationship with the different states. Here onwards, from 7th to 13th chapter, we can go ahead for the next slide. 7th to 13th chapter, there is a discussion about various strategies which are possible, which a Vijigishu, the conqueror, the one who has interest in conquering, what are the various strategies he should use? That is given in these chapters from 7 to 13. So anybody who is means the people who are teaching business management, or who is entrepreneurship, anybody is teaching, they can see how these 7 chapters can be useful for them, because there are the various strategies used which a owner can use when he is dealing with other companies. So those things we'll find in these chapters. Then there is a Upanishadam and Tantra Yukti, which I have already explained. Can we go next? These are the 7 elements which are very important for any state, which is explained even in Mahabharata, and which is taken by Chanakya also. Swami, Amatya, Janapada, Durga, Kosha, Danda, Mitra. Swami is a leader, clear, a king. Amatya, a minister. Territory, or population. Durga means forts, Kosha means treasury, Danda means army, Mitra means allies. This can be applied in corporate world also. In a company, we'll have, if I want to develop a company, I want to establish a company. So there should be one leader who will be taking care of that company. I must have a team of advisors with me to lead that company. I must have people working for me. I must have a big infrastructure to be established. Then I must have the security, so that there should be a firewall. No? If I am constructing some institution or some company, there should be a firewall to protect myself. So that is actually Durga. Then comes Kosha. We must have enough investments coming from various places to develop this company. Then we must have our own army of the people who can protect as well as who can work for us. Then we must have allies. Different companies should be aligned with us, because we may be needing some help from them, some support from them. That only the people who are teaching those type of subjects, they can understand much better, they can explain much better than me. I am trying to just bringing this aspect, that this aspect is not meant only for a king to understand. This can be understood by any leader who wants to establish a institution, who wants to establish a company, who wants to establish any corporate world for him. So this is known thing. I will just skip this thing. Just like 1 minute. Swami, the word Swami is understood in a very wrong manner. Swami, whenever we heard this word Swami, we say he's boss or leader or owner, boss. Yes, that's true. The person who has land, people, money, collection of all these, that person is a owner. Owner is a correct word actually. The person who owns it. But it's not something which is called boss, because Swami also connects with the word Raja. The word Raja, please see, you can see Raja Prakriti Ranjanath. One who delights, cherishes his subject is Raja. The Raja, boss, I don't know the meaning, the correct meaning or etymology of the word boss. But as I have understood from the word boss, it is taken as a negative term most of the time. When somebody wants to criticize his owner, we call him as a boss. Most of the time I have heard this. I don't know whether it is true or not. But uh, the Raja is not like a boss who is ruling. He's like he wants to cherish his subjects. He wants his subjects to be free, enjoy. So that is called Raja. That's why Rajate Shobhate iti Raja. Ranjayati Prajaha iti Raja. These are the different etymologies which we find in our ancient texts. So we'll skip this. This part I don't want. We'll skip. We know all these things. Yes, I have covered this. Yeah. So these are the things which Swami should in the text which we find. Swami is a supreme authority of a state. All the six limbs other than Swami, they all are guided and molded by the Swami. He takes care of all those. King should study Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki is a science of thinking, logic and argumentation, science of thinking. That's called Anvikshiki. So a king or any leader must be thorough with this Anvikshiki theory. That's what Chanakya says. Anvikshiki, Trai or Vedas, Varta economics, Dandaniti political science. Why Vedas? To understand what is right and what is wrong. What duty which we are performing, whether that duty or whether that decision which is being taken by me is correct or wrong. That is understood by the Vedas. Varta is economics. Why Varta should be studied? A king should understand where there is a profit and where there is a loss. To understand these concepts, a king should have the knowledge of Varta, that is economics. Unless he has the knowledge of economics, he cannot differentiate between loss and profit. Similarly, he must have the understanding of political science, Dandaniti. Dandaniti helps in understanding what is justice and what is injustice. And to understand all these things and to take the decision, proper decision, because there might be confusion sometimes. Sometimes there might be contradiction inside this knowledge. To come out of that, one should have the understanding of Anvikshiki, which lets us understand where is logic, which lets us understand, which lets us argue and finally find out what is correct, what is dharma, what is proper, what is right, and what is justice, what is profit. So all those things to understand what is understood by Trayi, Varta and Dandaniti, Anvikshiki is important. That's why Anvikshiki is called as the light torch for all these. King must be Indriyajayi. He must have the control over his senses. Because if there is no control, we can see that lot of times, we can see many videos are getting viral of the many ministers doing something which is not good. So those things, because of which they are losing their power. So a king should be Indriyajayi. Indriyajayi means control over senses, not having anger, not having kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara, which we call. So those six enemies should be away from us. Must be highly active in the performance of the duty. So the final thing which is expected from a king is praja sukhe sukham rajnah, prajanam tu hite hitam, natma priyam hitam rajnah, prajanam tu priyam hitam. Praja sukhe. In the happiness of the subjects lies the happiness of the king. If subject is happy, the king is happy. In the good of the subject lies the good of the king. Good means whatever the subject likes, it is a good. No, it's not like that. Which is good for the society, and through overall society, it is doing something good for an individual also. Such thing is called good for a king. So whatever is good for the society is good for a king. Natma priyam hitam rajna. Whatever king likes, I like this, so it's a good. For me it is good, so I will apply it for the society. Such things are not called as good, and that does not make a king happy. Prajanam tu priyam hitam. Whatever is done for the sake of the society or a subjects, for the well-being of the subjects, that is actually what is hita, good, and what is actually likable for the king, what is preferable for a king. So that's what Chanakya says in Arthashastra 180. So these are the four knowledge branches which I have already explained: philosophy, Vedas, Varta, Dandaniti. So from where a king should earn this? Next, please. Huh. So Anvikshiki should be learnt by the scholars or in the society who have already who are well experienced in that field, Shishtaha, who are very well experienced in that field. So Anvikshiki, the art of thinking must be learnt. Art of logic and argumentation should be learnt from such experts. Then next, please. Vartam Adhyakshebhya. There are heads of departments which I have mentioned earlier. I will give the list of those heads of department later. So from them, economics should be learnt by the king. Vaktra Prayoktrubyah. The people who speak about political science, who practice political science, from them a king should learn Dandaniti, the governance. So these are the various areas, various places from which a king should learn. I'll go to the next slide, please. We'll skip this. This is the daily regimen which a king should, according to Arthashastra, a king should follow. According to this, a king can sleep only for 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. You can find it if you try to find out. There is a sleeping hour somewhere it is given. Retire to the bed chamber 9 p.m. to 1:30 a.m. So whole day he is busy. To be like that, a king should be Sattva Rajoguna Pradhana. This is again a complex thought which need time to explain. The one who is Sattva Pradhana, only he can, Sattva and Raja Pradhana who has Guna, Sattva Guna and Rajo Guna, the people who has Sattva and Raja Guna, they can avoid sleep because they don't get sleep. The people with Tamo Guna get sleep. For that, that type of food is to be consumed. So there are a lot of connections there. So that's very important. So this is the timetable which Arthashastrakara gives for a king. But he also says, depending upon the place, time, and vyakti, this might differ. Depending upon the power of a king, the nature of the king. He has a tamoguna, his country is small, he need not do all these things, so something can be skipped from this. That option he has given in his Arthashastra. Okay. So this is the heads of the departments, which in Adhikarana 2, which I was explaining. This is, please go back. Let one glance be there. So you can just see that it is divided into different categories. Trade and industry, there are 4 people who are looking upon trade and industry. There is a team which is looking about treasury and finance. There is a team which looks about land use of and livestock, mining, defense, citizens services, shipping and movement. Different departments which is headed. So if one sees the Adhikarana 2, will get idea of all these areas. Shall we go ahead? How much more? Half an hour more I have? Oh, lot of time. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move into, I understood that I have half an hour more, so I will skip the third topic which is pending. I was also asked to discuss about Indian health system, so I just skip this foreign policy part, which is just this. I'll take this one slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, these are the 6 ways strategical foreign policies, Shadgunya, which we call, which is used by a king to deal with the neighboring countries or enemy countries. The making peace, Vigraha hostilize, staying quiet, preparing for war, seeking the protection, making peace with the neighboring country to pursue hostility towards another. Like if both the countries know that this fighting is of no use, I'm not going to win over him, no, let me go and make a peace. Then another is, oh, please go back. Okay. Vigraha, like going for attack. If the king feels that I'm powerful, he can go for attack. When asanam is like staying quiet. It's of no use by fighting with the neighboring country. So let me be quiet. India usually prefers asana part because India knows that if we go for a fight, it's a it's just going to destroy the neighboring country as well as our own country. Chanakya makes it clear: go for war only when you feel that you are gaining a lot and losing less. But war, I don't think it will ever will be like gaining it more and losing less. Losing part will always be there. So it's always avoided. War was always avoided by us. Yanam preparing for war, seeking the protection. Samshaya means seeking protection. We don't have enough power, so we'll take the protection. Like Nepal keeps taking protection of either India or Nepal or China. Earlier it used to take the protection of India. Now it takes from China. Again, now what is the situation? I don't know. Then Dvaidhi Bhava, like what Pakistan usually does. To attack India, they are taking the help of China, America, and all. So that is Dvaidhi Bhava. To attack others, taking the help of others, because they know we are not powerful enough to attack. So they have to take the help of some other country. So they are taking the help of the powerful countries. So that's called Dvaidhi Bhava. So we can find all these six foreign policies happening in present world. You can find all these things. Like Russia had gone for a war. The Vigraha you can find there. Russia has gone for a war. We are in asana position. We see Pakistan in Dvaidhi Bhava. We see Nepal in Samshaya. Sandhi, many places we find. Sandhi we keep doing with the different countries, whatever mutual understanding, MOUs we do, that is Sandhi. Whatever MOUs we do with different countries, taking fund, giving fund, that's Sandhi. Okay? So those things are happening. Let's move ahead. We'll skip this. We'll skip this. Yeah. Now we will move into our second topic. That is, please go back. So this is the second topic which was given to me to discuss about Indian perspective on health and managing life. Before going to that, I think we can take questions for this part. Otherwise, that will be missed out and something else will be. The topic is changing, sir. That's why I thought, is it okay? Now we're moving into Ayurveda, Indian health system. Yes. Yes.
There is a difference between good habits and behavior.
Relationship between good habits and
Food
habits and behavior. Yes.
So history shows that there is no relation. You may be true in some context, but history shows that there is other side of the context. Like Hitler is a pure vegetarian,
Okay.
and Ambedkar is a pure non-vegetarian.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go for divine side, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa he used to have fish in his everyday meal. So in that context, there is a difference of behavior is showing, and I seek a kind clarification on that. And one more thing, sir, is there any book on Arthashastra except Balbir Singh, the true founder of economics? Balbir Singh has wrote who compared Western economic thought and Indian Arthashastra, and in your entire that presentation, you spoke about only leadership with connection to Arthashastra. But Arthashastra speaks shared value creation, which Michael Porter theory was very popular, which was published in Harvard Business Review. Please speak on that, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
I will answer the second question first, then I'll go to the first one. So there is one book by Ellen Rangarajan. So you can refer that book, which gives the detailed understanding about Arthashastra in his own way. Okay. Then there is another book by R.P. Kangle. The third part of that book also deals in similar manner. You can check that also. And for economics, we have many books. Anyway, you already have found that. the Balbir Singh book. Yes, yes. There are many other books which you can refer. These two are very. Yes. And then you asked me why I did not focus on other parts of Arthashastra. The time is very limited, my brother. Give me more time, I will explain all other aspects. Now, second side which you are mentioning, what is the second side? Huh? Shared value creation. Okay. Uh-huh. Thank you. I will read that and I will get back to you. Hmm. Good. I would request you to do that. Good.
I
Very good. Thank you.
Hello.
The first question.
I request everyone who are putting up the question to be very brief. Yeah.
Yes. Sure. See, I never said that food habits, this food gives this guna. I have not yet spoken about that. I said there is a connection. That even now also I say there is a connection. But I didn't say that eating fish will cause this or eating that will cause that. Okay? Okay, we'll talk outside, Okay.
Sir, I have a question
Yes.
regarding that food habit also. I had sir asked clarified because if we see the statistics that if vegetarian is associated with the intelligence, then India would have taken the more number of Nobel awards than the foreigners. But India is taking less number of what Nobel awards. And I have one more question. In Tantradarika, you mentioned Adhikarana 1 to 5 chapter, that is a criminal law and court proceedings. In that, as per this thing, is it true or not? I have to know. That in court proceedings, Chanakya treaties emphasizes mistreating the lower caste as a part of the rules, and he stated that if Kshatriya or those from warrior caste commit adultery, he should be left go off it after paying fine. If Vaishya does so, the Arthashastra postulates that his property must be confiscated. On the other hand, if a Shudra commits that adultery, or a man of lower caste must be burnt alive.
No. As I have read Arthashastra, these points are not there in Arthashastra.
But it is showing that is the Chanakya strongly emphasized
No.
caste system.
You read Chanakya. I would suggest you go and read Chanakya, then comment this. Chanakya nowhere says these things. Chanakya is very prompt about punishment is given. No, but not in this manner. You go and read Arthashastra. I would suggest you to do that. Yeah.
I have not read, that's why I am
Yes.
asking.
Chanakya never speaks this way. Yeah, there is one chapter which helps all the people to get himself out of this physical punishments. There is a chapter called Ekanga Vadha Nishkrayaha. That chapter says if somebody is given punishment, anybody, okay, it does not speak whether it's Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. Anybody who has got the punishment, there is a proper procedure through which he can pay the fine, which present day also we have, no? Either go to jail or pay 1,000 rupees penalty type thing. Similar things are explained in Arthashastras, that chapter. You can go and check that chapter. You can check whole of the fourth Adhikarana. You will find that this type of discussion is not there in Arthashastra. Even I felt once when I read such articles, I deliberately read that chapter to understand whether Chanakya really says so. And no, I didn't find it.
Thank you, sir. I will go through it and I will take the class.
Please.
your presentation is very nice, but at the same time you are focusing the Sanskrit literature. Literature is more. In my knowledge, in India there is Sanskrit is only one language.
Yes, I agree with you, sir.
Yeah, but at the same time we have a good traditional knowledge with Dravidian culture.
Yes.
That you have to understand.
Now, in the very first slide, if you remember, myths and facts, when I was speaking, I told IKS is not Sanskrit. I am coming from Sanskrit background. What I can do, sir?
Yeah, when I am talking about the Indian knowledge
Yes.
system, you should be understand the background of
Yes, yes.
Dravidian culture also.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, I am coming to the question. The Indian knowledge system, there is only not only focused on the Sanskrit languages. Other than the Dravidian culture, we have a good tradition. But why not you are taking those parts and not giving explanation of in the talk about Indian knowledge system? Yesterday also have some talks. It is focused on Sanskrit something. What I am asking, when you are talking about this Arthashastra, there is army, government administration like that, you said. At the same, spy, everything noted in Sangam literature.
Yes.
That is important. That's why I am asking those things.
I'm sorry, sir, I don't know Tamil. Otherwise, I would have brought Sangam literature here. I don't know Marathi. Otherwise, I would have brought that
Sir, it is available in English, sir.
Shivaji's thing.
It is available in English. That is possible to read. That's
Okay.
why I am asking you.
So I have presented in English only, sir. Some Sanskrit words were there. That's all.
No, sir. What I'm asking you, when you are talking about Indian knowledge system, you have to read us. No, no. Thank you.
With your permission, I want to share a couple of thoughts. So the speakers who actually took from the Sanskrit sources, if you see V. Ramanathan sir's lecture, which is available on YouTube, he has taken references from Tirukkural. So the second scholar actually who presented yesterday on chemistry, he has taken, he compared Arthashastra and Tirukkural. It is available. You please go to Atharva Forum YouTube channel. It is available. See, one thing we must remember that it is only a talk of 45 or 50 minutes. So whatever they are studying, they cannot. The research persons are studying, they cannot. They are taking one aspect of their whatever they have researched or whatever they have found interesting. One aspect is being shown. It doesn't mean that they have ignored all other aspects. So, and it was clearly said in the first slide that we are not only taking Sanskrit. Whenever we speak Indian knowledge systems, we don't say that we are considering only Sanskrit. A lot of literature is available in regional languages and from the foreign authors also. Thanks to Muhammad Ghazni, who brought Al-Malabi to India. And whoever wants to read about Indian knowledge systems, you must refer to the only one good thing Muhammad Ghazni did is bringing Al-Malabi. Because of him, we get a lot of indigenous practices which was existed in those 9th or 10th century. And another thing, I quickly refer to that point also. It is never said that vegetarian food actually leads you towards good habits and non-vegetarian food makes you violent. It is never said. Food habits make some impact in our characteristics itself. So the food which actually intoxicate you. So that kind of food actually he is referring to. It is not that vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Indian text clearly says that if you read 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Agisattva Balarogya Sukha Priti Vivartanana, Rasyastikya Tirajitya Ahara Sadhika Priya. Nowhere it is compared that if you take vegetarian food, you will become Satvika. If you take non-vegetarian food, you will become what? Nowhere it is said. So while asking the question also, please understand what actually is said and don't actually bring it into your understanding. So we have several understandings, but when a speaker says we should not equate his statements with our understanding.